Welcome to ABC Interactive English. My name is Winnie.
And my name is Matt.
And today we are completing part 2 of ways to help you listen to understand. And as we know, as humans, what separates us from robots is the fact
that we can listen to people better. And that's why we need to practice our listening skills.
Speaking of listening skills, Matt, another important part of that is that we don't
interrupt. Right? That's what you're going to say?
I mean, yeah, technically, but you should take your own advice, okay? When we're talking, we don't interrupt each other. It's rude.
Is it?
It's considered rude.
I thought, helping people finish their sentences could help them to speak better.
I mean, I understand your meaning behind that, but other people will think that you are being very rude because you're not letting people finish their sentences.
Got it.
Okay, maybe today that's what you're going to be working on today, okay? So it's ways to help you listen to understand part 2.
Sometimes good listeners get confused and want to ask questions. Instead of interrupting the speaker, they'll wait for the speaker to finish. They know that it's rude to jump in. Good listeners also know not to judge the speaker. Their opinions won't help them understand what the speaker is going through.
Let's get started with part 2 of ways to help you listen to understand.
All right, let's get into it. Sometimes good listeners get confused and want to ask questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a word there which is confused, and it's an adjective, and it's a feeling that you might have when you don't understand something. So you don't understand maybe the meaning or just what someone is saying, and that would make you want to ask questions. You might get confused by many things. Some people get confused when looking at a map, trying to find where they're going. Sometimes I get confused when trying to use the computer and trying to figure out how to do things on the computer, probably because I'm getting too old.
Or sometimes when someone is telling me the directions to a place, but if they're not using a map or something, they're only using like sentences and street names, that can be very confusing. Continuing on, instead of interrupting the speaker, they'll wait for the speaker to finish. They know that it's rude to jump in. Okay, so like we were saying at the beginning, a lot of people will think that it's not very nice if you are not letting people finish their sentence. Or, in other words, to interrupt. Our verb, it means to stop someone in the middle of doing an action, or in this case, speaking.
And one way you could interrupt someone is to jump in. So to jump in terms of jumping into a conversation, means suddenly saying something or suddenly interrupting, actually. So to jump in when Winnie's talking, I might give my opinion when she is not finished telling me, how she feels or what she wants to tell me.
Yeah.
So to cut someone off or interrupt, you jump in.
Yeah, because when we're active listening, when we're going, we're not really interrupting the other person. But, if I were to say, oh, wow, you know how I feel about that. Now that is an interruption. Yeah.
That's right. So back to the article. Good listeners also know not to judge the speaker.
And I think that is a little bit, to judge someone is a little bit harder to describe. Okay, so we have, a judge, but in this case, it's a verb, and it basically means someone who may look down on a person or think less of them because of their own opinions, like my own thoughts. So when you're talking to someone, especially a friend, it's not very helpful if, your face is kind of like, I do not agree with what you're saying. It's not a very nice thing to do.
All right, but I do think it's difficult. It's very difficult to completely not judge someone, to fully ignore your feelings and thoughts, because you're just naturally, as a human, naturally judge situations and have opinions about things, but it's important to not let, the person that you are talking to feel that you are judging them at least.
Right, exactly. Continuing on, their opinions won't help them understand what the speaker is going through. So just to kind of define what an opinion even is, and it basically is a belief or a thought about something. And we all as humans have opinions. That's what makes us, so different from each other, which is also why maybe if someone has a different opinion than you, that might cause you to kind of judge someone who doesn't think the same way as you. But as good listeners, we also want to show the other person, okay, I'm going to hear you out. Maybe you have a different point of view or a different perspective that I never thought about. For example, someone might be telling me about how much they love carrots. I'm going to try and not show that I hate carrots. I really hate carrots. They're disgusting.
So are you going to judge a person who likes carrots?
I mean, I definitely won't be ordering the same foods as them.
Okay, well, I think carrots are pretty normal and acceptable food. And I'm judging you right now because who doesn't like carrots?
And I'm judging you right back. But we're going to stop that because we're good listeners.
Yeah.
But speaking of good listeners, we're going to learn more after the break.
What's more, good listeners only give advice when the speaker wants it. When you practice active listening, you show your desire to understand. It'll help you earn people's trust and build strong relationships. It's an important skill to have.
Welcome back from the break. Before the break, we learned about what makes a good listener. And part of that is not interrupting someone while they are talking. And sometimes when we're interrupting someone, it's because maybe we're confused or we don't understand something. But that might stop the conversation and might confuse the speaker. So in that case, you should wait for them to finish their sentence, finish what they're saying, and then save your question for the end.
All right, well, let's get back to the article. What's more, good listeners only give advice when the speaker wants it. Okay, so advice is something you give, and it is your opinion or your thoughts on what a person should do in a certain situation or just in the future, going forward. What should someone do is your advice. So if someone wants advice, they might ask you, what should I do?
Yeah.
And you can tell them what maybe you would do if you were that person or what you think the best thing to do in that case is.
Yeah, and I think when you're friends with someone, naturally you would want to give your advice whether or not they're asking for it because you maybe care about this person. But sometimes, for example, when I'm just having a rough day, I just want to talk. I just want to vent and then let it go. Continuing on, when you practice active listening, you show your desire to understand. And the word desire means a strong feeling of want.
So continuing on, it'll help you earn people's trust and build strong relationships. It's an important skill to have. Okay, so trust, something you can build with your friends or people around you. Trust is the thought that someone or something is good and that they will not harm you or trick you or, do something negative or bad to you. So if I trust my friends, I believe that they are supporting me. They have, they want me to do well. So they're not trying to do things that will harm me or make me worse.
Yeah, like you can count on them. Just like I trust Matt to always be on time for our shoots. And we also have the word relationship, okay? And it basically means a connection between two or more people, or maybe you have a good relationship with your pets. Like I have a very good relationship with my dog. He is my best friend. But yeah, so in a way to really make sure your relationship is very good, very solid, is all in the conversation, talking with one another and making sure that, if you are a good listener, that really makes the relationship stronger. I know a lot of the people that maybe aren't the best listeners, I would think, okay, so maybe it's a little bit harder to have a relationship with this person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you said you have a good relationship with your pets. Are they good listeners?
Oh, they never interrupt. They never talk and... Okay, they don't really talk because they're dogs, but still I can tell. I can look into my dog's eyes and just know. He might not understand me, but on a deeper level, he understands.
Okay. Well, it is important to have someone or something, animals, to talk with, to express your feelings and what's good or bad about your life at that time. And it's also important to feel that that person is really hearing you and listening to what you say, and that they're supporting you by, just listening and not always telling you what you should do or what they want you to do.
Yeah. I think we've learned a lot about being a good listener and how it's not also just for the other person, it's also for you. So that, if you really are listening, that maybe lessens the opportunities to get confused.
Yeah, so this is a way to make yourself better while supporting your friends and those people around you. So really just makes everyone better by being a better listener.
All right. Well, we hope you learned a thing or two today, but we'll see you on the next episode.
Goodbye.
Sometimes good listeners get confused and want to ask questions. Instead of interrupting the speaker, they'll wait for the speaker to finish. They know that it's rude to jump in. Good listeners also know not to judge the speaker. Their opinions won't help them understand what the speaker is going through. What's more, good listeners only give advice when the speaker wants it. When you practice active listening, you show your desire to understand. It'll help you earn people's trust and build strong relationships. It's an important skill to have.
Hello, I'm Tina. 我们来看这一课的重点单字。第一个 interrupt 动词打断谈话。It's rude to interrupt someone. 打断别人说话是很无理的。下一个单字 judge 动词评判批评。Don't judge people by their appearance. 不要根据外表评判别人。下一个单字 advise 名词建议忠告。The teacher gave me some good advice on how to improve my writing. 老师给了我一些提升写作能力的好建议。最后一个单字 trust 名词信任信赖。Henry has a deep trust in Kevin. Henry 非常信任 Kevin. 接着我们来看重点文法。第一个 instead of 加上 VING 而不是做某事。Instead of 是介系词片语，我们来看看这个例句。Belle decided to walk instead of taking the bus. Belle 决定走路，而不是搭公车。下一个文法 jump in 插话打岔，意思相近于 interrupt， 是一种更为口语的说法。我们来看看这个例句。Please don't jump in while others are speaking. 当其他人在说话时，请不要插话。最后一个文法 go through 经历，这是一个不可以分开的动词片语，受词呢大多是负面的情况。我们来看看这个例句。Sarah went through a lot of difficulties. Sarah 之前经历了很多困难。以上就是这一课的重点单字跟文法，回去记得复习哦。我们下一课再见，拜拜。
There is a very unique church located in Puli that many people flock to witness its breathtaking design and serene atmosphere. Even though it is now located in Taiwan, the Paper Dome actually has an origin story that started in Japan. Takatori Catholic Church was burned down in the 1995 Great Hanshin earthquake. The Paper Dome was built as a temporary gathering place. It offered great support for the people, The paper dome was taken apart in 2005 and later shipped to Taiwan. In 2008, the paper tubes were put back together in Taomi Village. The paper dome was opened on the 9th anniversary of the 9/21 earthquake. The paper dome is supported by 58 paper tubes. Each tube is 1.5 centimeters thick, 33 centimeters in diameter, and 5 meters tall. It weighs about 70 kilograms and is able to support up to 7,000 kilograms. Because Puli was a paper-making center in Taiwan, local paper makers also added their own designs to the church. The Shaking Memory art installation in the park is an iron boat. It is made with steel from houses that fell down in the 9/21 earthquake. Visitors can stand on the boat and experience the sounds of the earthquake. The work reminds people to work together and support each other. In addition, the light of love and mutual help art installation is like a ring. It means the spirit of togetherness and mutual love after the earthquake. Seeing the paper dome in person is a breathtaking experience that I highly recommend. So now that you know more about the history and structural design of the church, why don't you schedule a visit to the paper dome and see it for yourself?